All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Challenge Accepted. We are doing just a quick reaction because we got the Fantastic Four First Steps teaser trailer this morning, and I'm Thomas, and I'm joined with Frank.
Good morning, early morning, guys. Yeah, we are coffees deep. Actually, we got to get Thomas some coffee, but I am
Mhm.
half of this guy down already.
Oh
One of
wow,
those Stanley 40 ounces. Oof, I live by these bad boys.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
impressive. I rolled out of bed and was like, "Fantastic Four must talk," and here we are.
Let's talk. We got the first family. We're gonna watch the trailer together, and then we're gonna give our immediate reaction, and we'll go from there. So let's get into this trailer right now.
A few moments later.
Damn, that's an insane trailer. This is gonna be amazing. I've been reading a lot of Fantastic Four lately, so this is exciting, and they're such a good team. They're such a cool dynamic. It's different than the X-Men. It's different than the Avengers. For most of them, they really are family.
Yeah.
And then Ben is kind of trapped in this state, very conscious of him not being himself, and yet is still such like the heart of the team. It's God, this looks good.
It does. It really does. Uh, I was telling you beforehand before pressing record is one of the things I'm most excited for, oddly enough, is the actual New York itself. That retro futuristic vibe. We got new posters with this too. I just posted on social media. Um, all the posters are not of the Fantastic Four, but they're of New York, celebrating as if it's like V-Day or something like that. Like everybody's celebrating the streets, posters. These heroes are actively heroes. They're already stars. And
Mm.
normally when we get a first movie of somebody, it's like an origin story or I think the last thing I think of is like Black Panther when he went back to Wakanda was already Black Panther. Um, but normally you don't get that out of a superhero movie nowadays. And this one, it's kind of cool to see that they're like, hey, he's already, which we might be getting with Superman too, already a star.
Yeah. I want to go back to the first thing you said about New York, though. I really dig like how it looks like New York, and you look at the skyline too. I think you can see the Empire State Building,
Yeah.
but also we haven't seen the Baxter Building in New York yet.
Mhm.
So we obviously had Avengers Tower, and still iconic that 2012 Avengers movie. But going back to the Baxter Building too on top of it is
Yeah.
insane. We kind of were talking about like the different heroes and setups that they have in New York City when it comes to your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So, God, this is going to be incredible. Also, I will say, I mean, it's just the building looks insane, but
Hmm.
also I will say that since this is not the 616 that we're normally following, it might be all the more heartbreaking when this city gets destroyed by Galactus or whatever villains kind of pop up and ultimately, maybe force them into the 616.
Yeah, and looking at the city skyline, I'm looking at it right now. It's one of those things where you could tell what era it is because the Empire State Building is the tallest one, I think, looking at everything. But
Mm-hmm.
there are clearly buildings that don't exist. There's one in the foreground here that has like a saucer top. So
Yeah,
there,
that looks like the Space Needle.
yeah. So
Uh-huh.
that'll be very interesting to see how we go from there. And then when we're seeing this battle, already saw New York be attacked in Avengers, the first Avengers. But that one we survived. This one, when we're seeing Ben run through the streets, stuff like that, it does look like this is not going to be a victorious battle, and that they're going to lose this thing. Um, and we're going to lose this world, I think, and that is going to be super depressing. How is Doctor Doom going to be brought in with this? Tony, or not Tony Stark, RDJ.
Yeah, shoot, I don't, I'm not even sure about that yet, but I think I just love the depiction of the powers here. Like you're bringing up the thing running through the city. I
Yeah.
think, man, I'm just so impressed by how they did the thing. I think also in this teaser trailer, right, we got a minute and 30 seconds. They also took time to show how he's still caring. And it was like this kind of sweet, intimate moment in a sense of like him tasting the soup or whatever or the
Yeah.
sauce. It was like, wow, what an interesting thing to focus on when you have such little time. And then you get to the point where he's running and you're like, nice, this looks epic. We were kind of talking off mic about how he differs from the Hulk.
Yeah.
And we've seen the Hulk. It looks like, he shouldn't be as fast as the Hulk, but he is in some ways before the Hulk gets super mad as powerful. And so I think
Hmm.
it's really interesting how they're going to go about it. But it's cool to see that big of a thing moving that fast.
Yeah.
And then the one person's power we didn't see was Mr. Fantastic, so I think it was interesting.
Uh,
But Johnny's fire, it also looks different than what we've seen from Chris Evans. So I
mhm.
think that's a pretty unique way to look at it and to do it. Along with Sue, there's almost this shade of like really this distortion of light. It's not just about being invisible and whatnot that we kind of saw from Jessica Alba. This
Yeah.
is more of like this slow transition, and the way that force field or the invisibility works around her is distorting the light, the way that light is projected. I think it's a really unique way to kind of differentiate how their powers work from other Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah, it actually brings in a little bit of the cloak from Cloak and Dagger's skill
Oh,
set. It,
yeah.
it it looks
I
like
think
her a little more.
that's a great description. Yeah.
Talking about Ben and the thing, he's I think that sometimes it's shown in the comic book, sometimes it's not. It all depends if he's standing next to the Hulk, but like especially here, he seems like he's more of like a compact brawler when like the Hulk will just like 1-2 punch big ass monsters. But the
Mhm.
the thing is like I'm gonna climb up on you and just keep he's almost like a Drax. That's what I feel like. You know, like
Okay.
Drax will just
Yeah.
like keep going. I kind of get
Right.
that vibe with Ben, and like
Yeah.
seeing him run
Okay.
along those streets, I'm just like, oh, he's just gonna start swinging them big old fists. Um,
Yeah, yeah. It is funny though because that's not how he's necessarily done in the comics. He is more of the Hulk of the team, right?
yeah,
So I do again love him. I think it's interesting to see him in the suit too,
that's what I was
but
gonna ask you next. Yeah, the full suit.
yeah, I think he loses the shirt by the end of it,
Hmm.
and he just kind of fully embraces it. But I think it is interesting the sizing of they made him. It reminds me more of the Jessica Alba, Chris Evans, Fantastic Four that we got in the early 2000s. So I think it's interesting that they didn't bulk him up, but I can't wait to see him next to the Hulk or maybe the Red Hulk or
Yeah.
or at least yeah. So I don't know. It's just an interesting perspective choice on the size of the thing. It's not what I would have expected with them going to the CGI.
Yeah. They do use the CGI technique that they used for Groot in the Christmas special, which is what I was hoping for because that was some of the
Whoa.
best I've seen in this, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very similar to this. I wonder with the full suit if it's part of that like '60s modesty, like in the
Mm-hmm.
'60s, a shirtless dude, rock or not, would not be very, you know, accepted. And so like they all have very
Yeah,
toned down
yeah.
colors. So if they do get thrown into our MCU and all of a sudden people look sexier, maybe we'll get like kind of upgraded suits that are more modernized. Maybe Tony's like, no, not Tony, but whomever is like, come on guys,
Mm-hmm.
you guys got to go to the Gap and look a little bit fresher, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I could see that definitely happen. I mean, we've gotten two different suit makers now in the MCU, right?
Yeah.
We haven't really seen who's been making it, but we got the guy from She-Hulk, and then we also got Potter from Daredevil.
Yeah.
So it's like we know he's coming back, or at least he should be coming back from the show. So yeah, I think their suits are gonna change, but I think it's a good point what you bring up because this almost gives me the feeling that it's like an old documentary that maybe they're looking back on.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course, everything's gonna change. Yeah, it's interesting. I love the suits though. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and they all
Yeah.
have, do you notice all the suits, while it's definitely the same team, they're
Mm-hmm.
actually all different.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have the white on the running down the sides versus
Mm-hmm.
Ben's boots are different. They're all actually all different, but they are all the same too. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, it is pretty neat. Yeah. How do you think about Pedro in the suit? I mean, it all kind of looks cool, but
Yeah.
he's the when I'm reading a lot, like I said, of Fantastic Four comics, and he's the only one
Right.
that doesn't look necessarily like his character from the comics. So yeah, I'm curious to see him in action, basically.
One thing I do note is that he doesn't have any shoulder flares, and I think that probably is going to be easier for the stretching CGI,
Yeah,
making it easier on themselves.
exactly. That's kind of what I was hinting at too. I was like, yeah, I think this is more of a CGI choice.
Yeah, and you know what? I'd rather it look good, so I'm totally cool with that. But
Yeah,
I think Pedro is going to be a really good Reed Richards. You know, it's kind of one of those things where like, are they a better Batman or Bruce Wayne? I think he's going to be a
yeah,
really good Reed Richards, and
yeah.
he's kind of been very outspoken and kind of become pretty well known for his anxiety. And there's a hint of it in this trailer. I would really like for Reed Richards to show anxiety. I think that would be a very good thing.
Yeah, he's very much like a shyer Ree Richards than we know, which he kind of is. I mean, he's a unique character. I love Reed Richards because he's
Yeah,
the smartest man in the world, but he's not Tony Stark.
Right.
He's not, sure he just carries himself differently, even though he's so smart. He's almost
Hmm.
can be bashful about it sometimes, but he is one of those guys where he's so into his work, he gets lost in it. He forgets what
Yes.
time it is days later. It's like when you get a new video game and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I've been playing all night. It's like that's how he is about his work. So I do like this separation of his character, and I think Pedro is going to bring that to it. It's just like, to your point, like this sensitivity, this bashfulness, this shyness to it, and then this almost like, oh wow, thank you, Sue, like thank you for bringing me out of my rut, because otherwise I would just work all night.
Oh, so well said. I think that's one of the best things about Marvel is that like they thrive on the scientists, right? And like, yeah, we have Tony that's super arrogant, but I always compare him to Bruce Banner as well. Speaking of Hulk, but like Bruce, I think is very like not depressed, but kind of like woe is me down, like down. When Reed will like, I will sacrifice myself for the betterment of humankind, and Sue always keeps him on like, yeah, but you got to be present for today. Like the two balance each other so well, and trying to bring
Yeah.
that here, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait for them to have a conversation with like Bruce Banner and stuff like that in the MCU.
Yeah, yeah. I think you touched on a really great point too. He's way more of an optimistic genius.
Hmm.
Like when you have Tony Stark, he's more cynical. Let's put a suit of armor around the world. That's the only way we're going to protect it.
Right.
Bruce Banner is like kind of forced into science in a way because he's trying to like figure out how to solve his own problem. But Reed is more about how do we solve things for the betterment of humanity. Like
Yeah.
how do we fix this so that everybody benefits? And I think that's pretty unique, even though he's trying to escape from his own traumas and all that stuff as a kid too, which they all kind of are in some way.
Right.
But I just love the intimate moments in this trailer. It's so real, it's so grounded, I think, more than most of the Fantastic Four. Although I will say that the original one did a really good job of showing that kind of insecurities and why
Hmm.
their powers align with their personalities. But yeah, I just think it's really well done. And again, not seeing his powers in this is really just kind of humanizing him a lot more in this trailer. So I think that
Yeah.
was a great choice.
I am so excited. The aesthetics, the visuals of everything, the music. What it is
The
about that music that's,
music.
uh,
Oh,
I
so
know.
good.
They revealed that earlier at the Hollywood Bowl, and a couple months back, and it is this like kind of like just hyped up, old school builds and builds and builds. Oh, it's gonna be a blast.
Yeah. And no, it's gonna be fantastic. um,
There you go.
but yeah, I'm pumped about the aesthetic too. Just everything from the settings and to the costumes. It's like this was not a cheap movie to make, and it
No.
looks incredible. But one last thing I want to touch is that part where Ben's, and it's kind of like them looking back before the launch,
Yeah.
and Ben tells he's like he's the best pilot in the world, talking about Ben Grimm, and he's like the best looking pilot. And then Ben is just watching the TV, in incognito as much as he
Right.
can with the hat, and you just see like the depression in his face. Oh my god, that is,
Oh,
dude, he's gonna be a gut punch. Like Eben Moss Backrack is just gonna. I think he's gonna hit us in the heart in so many ways. I
well,
still. Oh yeah, go for
well, and Eben was cooking with Herbie too. I was like, yes, chef. I even put that up on our threads,
it.
like
Right. Yeah,
a
yeah.
little bit.
I know it's such a good tie-in to everything. Man, all these actors are at the top of their game.
Right.
One thing the only person I still want to see a lot more of. I mean, I want to see more. Of course, I want to see everything, but like,
Hmm.
I still don't see Johnny yet in Joseph Quinn. Like,
No,
yeah,
I
from
don't either.
again, like Johnny's such a hot shot, and this guy still is a little bit shy, a little bit bashful. Maybe he's going to develop that confidence as his powers kind of evolve, and more people start seeing them as this like celebrity hero team too. I
Yeah.
don't know. I just yeah, he still seems too shy.
He does, and I think it's going to be something where we see him grow into the role. But maybe it's because Marvel's like, you know what, we have too many cocky guys right now, so maybe they're kind of like, let's kind of tone this one back, bring him back to like maybe Peter Parker early days. Um, but he will get cocky. I mean, yeah, that's just who he is.
Yeah,
It's Johnny Storm.
I love
We
it.
also got some Red Ghost too with John Malkovich, but just a little hint of him.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get a little bit more of him and his monkeys and stuff that he always has around him. Be fun.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if they're gonna go. I mean, Like, are they going to go that way? Because that's such a quirky thing. I think it was from like the 1963 run of the
Yeah.
Fantastic Four, and like he's such an oddball villain. But we also know we're getting Mole Man, which
Yeah.
again, I don't know if that works in the 616, but it works here.
It
Like
works here, dude. Like how like the old radio serials, like this whole world feels like it's built for like some like, and now the mole man has broken through, and
yeah,
that's gonna be a blast.
I think so.
On the so I was watching the live stream with so many comments going on, and then I made a TikTok video already and comments on that. One of the comments on my TikTok video was like, I want them to do more Marvel in this world before they destroy it. Let's get an Iron Man with like this old like bolted on set and stuff like that. Let's get a Captain America that has like a shield shaped shield. Like
Yeah,
yeah, that
yeah.
would be
With
neat
the
to see.
wings, like actual wings on the side of
Yeah.
his
Oh,
helmet.
and then the Thor with like the actual big ass wings that go too big. That would be
Yeah.
so fun. Like just to totally take this world seriously. I would love that.
I know. Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah, but unfortunately, I think this gets
Nah,
destroyed.
I
Yeah,
think you're right.
and then we're and to bring it back to what you were saying, okay, so we got Galactus. Galactus is the world eater, but how does Doctor Doom play into this? And I think
Yeah.
now we we could see a spot. I don't think he's going to be a main part of the movie, but I could see little spots where Robert Downey Jr. is going to pop up. Or
Mhm.
do you think it's end credit scene?
I could see in credit scene. I can see because they're going back to space. They talk about, he's talking to Invisible Woman. This time we're going, so it's the second time they're going to space. We know Silver Surfer's already been cast to this,
Mm-hmm.
and they go up to space. I think they somehow trigger a warning to Galactus, and then when they come back, it's the Fantastic Four's fault that Galactus is coming. And then Doctor Doom, leader of Latvia, would be like, "What the hell?" and would be then upset. And so maybe we'll get that too, kind of like, maybe they're trying to help each other.
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah, I just can't wait to see Robert Downey Jr. pop up. And then Pedro Pascal acting against Robert Downey Jr. in a sense.
Oh,
We're in the room where they both have like this really great conversations where they're both making a lot of sense, but they have completely opposing views.
yep.
It's gonna be so good. But yeah, I don't know. I think maybe they do it at the end, but I feel like you have to hint. He's so integral to the part of Reed coming up. So it's
Mhm.
like they have to hint at him some part throughout the movie too. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do it. It's
And
gonna be crazy.
Matt Shackman's directing this thing. He's gonna give them the dialogue moments to breathe. We already saw it in the trailer where like some of the best stuff is just Sue and Reed talking to each other and chit-chatting.
Mhm.
We're gonna get a lot of that, and that's Shackman. He knows how to do aesthetics and he knows how to do conversations. It's gonna be done well.
Oh yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, man.
Um,
This is exciting. I'm so pumped. What a year with this team and then Superman. Like, oh my God, this is gonna be quite the summer, man.
you're reading Fantastic Four right now. Do you have any reading recommendations for the folks at home?
Yeah, I'd have to pull it up. I'm really like
Okay.
I bounced all over the place because I've been getting sent a bunch of different comics. Like now
Yeah.
I've read the man. You want to read like a fantastic? Gosh, I gotta stop saying that. Fantastic run of comics. There is the newest run has been amazing. They kind of get intertwined in Blood Hunt, but it's now the team has moved to Arizona. That one, it's just called the Fantastic Four. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of who
But that's the one
writes
that
it.
just came out like this, like last year, right? The
Yeah, I
Blood
think it
Hunt one.
started in 2020. Yeah, Blood Hunt was in last year.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think it started in 2023. But even the run before that, so I've been bouncing around a lot
Yeah.
just because I've been reviewing a lot of comics. But let's see, the 2022 to present is written by Ryan North, artist Eben Soello, color artist Jesus Bertov, and letter VC's Joe Carmarna. And then Alex Ross did the cover for this one, so very classic too.
Okay.
And it's
Cool.
a beautiful cover, and it's very reminiscent of what we're seeing in this show. So yeah, it's gonna be. So I think this is a perfect place to jump in because you're
Yeah.
probably not going to read every comic book from the 60s. So I think now the current run going on is a perfect place to start with the Fantastic Four.
So I'll put that up on our social medias, guys. The Ryan North run and stuff like that, and I'll put some links up so you guys want to read along with us and get hyped for this because we don't have very long, like July, right? So we don't have very much time. It's coming up quick.
Mhm.
Plus we
Yeah.
have all the other Superman movie or all the other super stuff coming out. Winter
Mhm.
Soldier, Winter Soldier, Captain America.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Captain America. Yeah,
it's very
that's
early.
gonna be fun too, man. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna. Marvel is bringing it this year. I think all the comic book shows are insane. I mean,
Yeah.
Invincible to what DC's doing to, of course, Marvel, Daredevil. We have Captain America. We have this. And I think we have still have Thunderbolts at the end.
Hmm.
Like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
This is gonna be so good.
It's gonna be good. All right, guys, we're gonna come back to with you on another mini-sode where we're gonna be talking about some of the other trailers coming for the Super Bowl. So keep an eye on those, and then of course we have the Empire one coming later this week. So action-packed stuff for Challenger Step. Thank you very much for joining us, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Aloha.